my beautiful people. My name is Anothando Molosi Yoga. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and thanks for joining us once again. In this channel, we're talking about finances, we're talking about life, and we're talking about God. And please note that none of the videos in this channel constitute any professional advice, whether it be financial advice or relationship advice or whatever. This is just information sharing. So if you're looking for financial advice, you need to speak to a certified financial advisor. Okay, so today I'm just gonna do a quick one. I want us to talk about emergency savings or emergency funds. A couple of people have asked me a lot of questions which I've written down, and I'm going to go through them and try to answer them in today's video. One, let's first maybe begin by saying what is an emergency fund. And an emergency fund is a fund, or it's a savings that helps you in the case of emergency, and it also prevents you from getting into debt in trying to solve whatever emergency that you have. That's the simplest explanation that I can give from my side. Like, it's that fund that you keep saving, and then it helps you in the case of the need, or in the case of any unforeseen circumstance, or in the case of emergency. Like, emergencies can differ, right? So I've written down like a couple of questions that I'm going to try and answer. The first one is, what can you use it for, or what do you regard as an emergency, right? So this is this question depends from person to person, because what is an emergency to me might not be an emergency to you. But let me just say, maybe in the case where let's say you have a car and you have a car insurance, you have a maintenance plan or service plan, but there are a couple of things that they're not doing. Like, for instance, they don't change your tires should you have a tire burst. So let's say now you have this tire burst and you need to change your tires, but all these insurances that you have don't cover for that, and that means you need to take money out of your pocket, and then you go into that, and you need the car. So you can't just leave it until month end or whenever. That is an emergency to me. Number two, let's say if maybe you are sick and it's after hours, and maybe wherever that you need that is closest to you, whoever, the doctor or whatever the case is, they want you to pay cash first, because there are those cases where you go to a doctor, they say you need to pay first us, and then you're gonna claim from the doctor and from the medical aid, and then the medical aid will pay you. So now you're sick, you really need to, or your child is sick, or your parent is sick, or your spouse, or your boyfriend, whatever, your sister, your whatever, someone that is close to you is sick, or that is your responsibility, is now sick, but you don't have money. What do? You take from your emergency savings account, and then you pay for that emergency, because you can't postpone a person being sick and say, no, we'll just pause it, and then he or she will continue to be sick at the month end. So that is one of the examples that I can think of, but there's many more. For instance, if you are, let's say you use your car to work, or you're a person maybe who's getting commissions and stuff, so you need to drive around. If your car breaks down and you need to pay extra, or maybe the insurance doesn't want to cover for whatever reason, I don't want to say you don't have insurance, because that's what you should have. For any other reason that you need to pay money cash, then you do that out of your emergency savings fund, right? So those are like few examples that I can think of. And then in case of maybe where you lose employment, we saw during COVID, people were getting retrenched left, right, and center. It was not a good thing, but at least if you have emergency savings account where you have funds in it, at least maybe a couple of months, some people would have been able to survive from the emergency savings accounts. Savings accounts. I don't know what's going on today, but yeah. So those are the few examples that I can think of. But of course, they're not gonna be the same for all of us. They depend from person to person. Your parent might call in and say they're not well and all that, and maybe they're not in your medical aid. Then you're gonna have to like pay for that, you know. So that's an emergency. Okay, sharp. That takes me to my next question. How much? Some people are asking, how much am I supposed to put in or save in this emergency savings account? Well, it also depends, because I won't know, like, personally, or it differs from person to person, that how much would you need for emergencies and how much would I need for my emergencies. But, or how long would you keep saving on this savings account, or until you reach how much, you know. But what I would say is, some people are saying at least 3 months of your monthly income. You must have at least 3 months of that. Some are saying even up to 6 months, and then if you can, up to 12 months of your monthly income, or at least of your monthly expenses. You see those fixed expenses in your budget, then those are the things that you know that they are your needs, for instance. Because obviously you going out and whatever, if you are retrenched, obviously you would reduce in those things that are not the needs, but they are just ones. But on the needs, like the fixed expenses in your budget, when you're doing your monthly budget, those are the things that you need to cater for. So if you know that, okay, in a month I'm spending 10,000 for paying my car, my house, buying electricity, buying food, those are the things that you can't run away from, like all the basic needs that you need in a monthly basis. Then those are the things that you need to cover for, so that in case of you being retrenched or whatever, then at least you are covered, maybe for a couple of months while you're still looking for another job, or while you're trying to get means to survive without maybe starting a business or whatever the case is. So that depends from person to person. You would have to sit down and decide how long do you think it would take you to get another job and all that, you know. So it depends. But I guess for starters, you can start with trying to get at least 3 months of your income into that savings, emergency savings fund. Then at least you'd know, but in case of emergency or in case of loss of employment, you would be covered for at least 3 months. But as you go along, you can always like improve. You can always add up and move to 6 months, move to, you know, it's a continuous improvement kind of situation, you know. And then the next question would be, where do I save this emergency fund? No, well, it depends. It depends, guys, but the general rule with people that I've had talking about it and stuff, it's always make sure it's money that will be accessible when you need it. For instance, you can't take that amount and put it in the stock market or to some investment that you know that they can't just give you money when you need it. You can't get it immediately. You understand? You need to put it in an accessible account where you know that it's an emergency now. My child is sick now, or my sibling is sick now, and I need to take them to the doctor or to the hospital. Then I need to get that amount. However, I do understand that. However, it also depends on your discipline. Like, self-discipline plays a very vital role in this, because if you know that you don't have self-discipline, and when you feel like you need to, you feel like you need to continue and it's ending now, and you're like, okay, I have some funds, you come and take them, you understand? Or it can be anything, but it doesn't have to be in a party. Or you feel like, okay, I don't know, I do want to go out, my friends are going out, so I'm gonna just take money from there and go out with my friends. Well, that's not what you need. Hence, I'm saying discipline is very important on where do you save this amount. So for some people that know that, I know myself, if this amount is accessible to me like 24/7, I will use it, and I'll keep saying I'll replace it, and I don't. So it's best for me to put it in a fixed account, or they call it notice account or notice deposit account. I don't know what they call it, but that 32-day notice or whatever, that fixed account that you can't take the money out. In order for you to take it out, you need to serve a notice of 32 days before the bank can release the funds to you. One, that helps you. Maybe let's say there's something that's happening, but maybe when you just act out of whatever shock or whatever, and then you feel like this is an emergency, you having to wait for 32 days, that will help you assess, is this really an emergency? Can this not wait? Like I said, our emergencies are not the same. So that 32-day notice, it will help you. And you wouldn't want to be, because if they give you before that notice period, you would be charged a certain fee for you to withdraw that money without the notice. So that will really help you to assess then that do I really need to pay these fees in order for me to access this amount for this problem that maybe can wait until I get paid. Understand? So that's one. And then the second one, obviously, it's the flexible account where you can access the money all the time, but discipline is what is important there. And then the last one, okay, let me tell you where I keep my emergency savings fund. I keep them in my bond. I know people have different opinions regarding that, but I put them in my bond because I have the access facility in my bond. So in case of emergency, I don't even need to call the bank. I don't even need to go to the bank. I just go to my app. I transfer the money into my main account. Then I can use the money. You understand? So for me, that's where I personally keep them. Okay. I hope you guys find value in this video. And if you have different opinions, or you have something to add on the emergency savings fund, please let me know in the comments below, and please do the right thing. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and hit the like button. See you next time. Cheers.